Hello there gang, DD DeVere here on a past blast, playing a classic game of yesteryear. And today I'm playing a little bit of Red Orchestra, OSTFRONT 41 to 45. This was of course released back in 2006 and was developed by Tripwire Interactive. So let us investigate how well it stood up against the march of time. So first of all, we'll have a quick glance through our configurations, or our options as we would call them in English. One little thing here, incremental tank throttle and vehicle throttle, well worth ticking. We'll explain for that when we get in-game. So graphic settings, now this was built on the Unreal, I can't remember if it's Unreal 2 or Unreal 3 at the moment. One of the two, we'll explain for why shortly. One small niggle is that there's only 1680 by 1050 is the highest resolution I think this seems to support. They're very strange. You'll need to tick that box to get these advanced options. So yeah, there's a fair decent amount of settings, and obviously age of the game, everything on it runs pretty decently. Don't want to close the configuration completely there. There's a few audio options. The game did actually have VoIP as well, so it's nice. Controls, as you'd expect, fully rebindable, as well as you've got the option to have secondaries, which is always nice. Now you're probably going to want to spend a little bit of time in here when you first launch the game, if you already own it, or if you do buy it, because man, there's some wacky bindings. Z to use things such as getting out of vehicles and that. Iron sights was on the middle mouse button. Right mouse button was user melee. Oh, and map was bound to O. So you probably want to just have a quick flick through and sort a few little minor points out. Finally, some input settings here, which is of course just your mouse sensitivity. Oh, mouse movement keeps going back on for some reason. Maybe I'll close it that way. Maybe that's fixed it. Finally, a few things like your HUD settings to see chat and all that kind of thing. So what do we get? Well, of course, this was originally more aimed at a multiplayer. Yeah, it's obviously a first-person shooter, but with more hardcore bent to it. So if we go to the internet, and it was predominantly to be multiplayer. And that's the first thing. There are still people playing. Obviously, expectations set accordingly. You can't expect to see thousands of people. Again, it's a hardcore shooter and quite old. But there is still life there. And there's a way to get more life, that we'll talk about later in the game. You also get a single player practice mode. Now this isn't like a campaign or anything like that. This is pure bot match. Think of it in many ways like early Battlefield games. But of course the good thing is there's a very good sort of selection of different type maps. You do get a fair bit of content, some of which, such as this one here, are actually fan-made, community-made user maps, as others are actual official Tripwire, but they were that good of maps they got incorporated into the official game. So let's quickly start with Danzig here. Give it a mother. So let's see, let's just auto-select. I'm going to be a semi-automatic rifleman. So here's one annoying thing, as you'll see there. You don't click quickly, it lets the bots take your slots, and there's no quick easy way to cut or to kick them out. So it gives us the G43 rifle and a couple of nades. So let's continue with that. And there we are, it's just basically conquest. Very much like a Battlefield game this is. It's much bigger maps, well most of them are. There's a lot bigger maps than what you get in a Battlefield game. But not as big as Armour, of course. Because this was released at the time when games like Call of Duty and Medal of Honor were real sort of big sellers. That was someone up on that bridge. Oh. Luckily I'm playing this on the lower setting, because that really should have killed me. Otherwise, well, it would do if that hadn't have been. So like a realistic shooter, you only get told how many mags you've got, and once you reload, it'll tell you whether the mag is heavy, light, or in between, to let you know how many bullets you've got left in it. It's only if you get empty magazine you'll throw it completely. Oh no, they're Russians. Oh, there we go. Brown bread. Of course, you can keep reloading all the time, even if you don't need to reload. That's because of the realism sort of thing. Yeah, got a melee. So graphics, of course. Yeah, they definitely kind of show their age. But so this is kind of like and so do the bots, unfortunately. Can we get him off? No, not directly. Not to worry. So yeah, this sort of what's more interesting is how this game actually came to be, and how Tripwire Interactive obviously came to be as a result of it. And believe it or not, this actually started life as Unreal Tournament 2004. It was actually a modding competition between Epic Games and Nvidia. It was sponsored by Nvidia and Epic Games, and it was called Nvidia Build Something Unreal. Well, would not have escaped without a multiplayer or harder bot levels. And that was the mission, was to take... Oh, he is Russian, yeah, he's shooting at me. Was to take a Unreal Tournament 2004 and the mod tools, and then make a game out of it. So they did, and it was called... Oh, well, that was silly. Should have looked both ways. It was called Red Orchestra Combined Arms, and that was the mod they made. And part of the, which they won the competition. And part of the prize, the bullets aren't, these are kind of more like World War II weapons, so they're not laser guns. Even just because they're under your, just because they're directly under your side doesn't mean you're guaranteed a hit. There's sort of levels of deviation. Good grief, I'm not seeing them, but they're seeing me. So yeah, it was the part of the reason. It was I forget if it was an Unreal 2 or an Unreal 3 engine license, an official license to use it. Because this is at a time when the Unreal Engine was still like megabucks, you know, and it was something like $10,000 or something ridiculous. Although, of course, it was pretty much the best game engine at the time. I was trying to get some cover over this side, close the distance. Although, why? I've got a rifle, although it is an automatic rifle. So yeah, that was a... So that's how Tripwire Interactive came to be. Once they had the license, which is this the flag we're supposed to be on? Oh yeah, we own this one. They started as a mod team, and then they took the Combined Arms and made it their own full game, which was the Red Orchestra OSTFRONT, and then got it released on Steam. And they themselves obviously became a company. Oops, they bridged too far. That's less spawns on them. Oh! I've got some sort of VPSH was about to say there. So, there we go. So, I'll tell you what we'll do, gang. We'll bounce out of this and we'll try disconnect. We'll have a look at some of the vehicle combat as well. So, what's a good one? Arad, that's a mixed map. Some are pure tank battles. Others, like this one, is sort of like mixed infantry. And so, I mean, selection-wise, you do get a fairly decent amount of some quite open maps, some quite crowded, some sort of in between. Yeah, I'll do Arad. We'll jump in a tank and have a look at the auto select again. Oh, I'll be their tank commander. So let's spawn in. Or eventually. So again, I mean, certainly the textures are very low res, but you know, it's still effective really for the age of the game. So it started as a mod for Unreal Tournament. You can't help but be impressed with what they achieved. Especially more so, they've got a very good selection of vehicles, as we'll see soon. But on top of that, because Tripwire themselves started themselves as a mod team, they always stayed mod friendly. Oh, I'm taking that. See, look at that. I've got to be quick because I don't want the bots to get in here and start doing anything, because you can't directly kick them again either. Let's just get weaving. If we open up the hatch, pop out. Yeah. So they kept mod tools for all their games as well. So there are some mods for it, but the most outstanding one is called Darkest Hour. Now that takes us into the European theatres of operations. and that has a lot more of an active player base for multiplayer if multiplayer is important to you, as well as obviously the Allied forces, such as obviously maps and battles you know, such as the invasion of D-Day. So that massively adds to the game, and so there's a lot more people playing that Darkest Hour, and because it's a mod, it's free. It's a lot of extra content for free, which is a price we like. So this is more like a Battlefield map. Who's that? Oh, that's not ours. That's theirs. So it isn't really realistic tank combat as such. There are shell ricochets, but I mean this at that range should have absolutely totaled that. Really, actually, I'll probably get a. That's probably wrecked his engine. I mean there is component damage. So with the Darkest Hour mod and this game itself, of course, we have realistic load times as well. Ah, there we go, success. We do have a machine gun. I thought that's obviously try a single crew it. I have to wait for that to load and then I can drive off again. You do get quite a bit for your money. This is more so. This is sort of in between Armour and Battlefield. Really, it's not quite as hardcore and big maps as say an Armour at the time, but it's equivalent to sort of Battlefield. Some of the maps are about the same as a Battlefield map. A lot of them are bigger. Yeah, you get a good mix of vehicles, but obviously no aircraft, unfortunately. And with the Darkest Hour, just more of everything. And it's not terrible looking, really, in the grand scheme of things. That don't look good. Actually, I should try to wreck his engine again. And Bren carrier. But I'm going to sort of probably, actually, no, I can probably get him. Come on, load. So yeah, it's moments like this, the bots especially break down. I mean, they've probably abandoned that tank. If they get themselves too confused, they will abandon vehicles. Again, you know, you have to be fairly understanding that this was intended to be majority multiplayer. Let's put a few more shells in while we're waiting. We are capping the flag now. So yeah, say it's sort of like a more hardcore battlefield, but set in Russia. On the Russian front. OSTFRONT. Oh no, that means a bot's jumped in. So now he won't jump out again. Oh no, hang on, he has. He's got himself confused. No, he's jumped bloody back in again. I think that's one of ours. I might as well start the main cannon then. We do have also little voice messages. Some of which is actually properly voice acted. That's nice. So, oh, hang on, he's out again. Right, I'll try and get moving. I was going to also, yeah, that's one nice thing is if you look down at the bottom, obviously left, you've got your, just ran him over. Oh, he's left us in front of a, that's why he's bailed it. He's left us in front of a bloody enemy tank. Whew. Yes, so explaining for the driving. That's what the incremental throttle does. As you see, if you've got the tank direction indicator, the speedometer, the tachometer, then you've got the throttle indicator. So yeah, I just set and forget it. So I leave it there, hands off the keyboard, the tank will keep moving unless I need to turn, which I have to apply left or right. So that's a really nice thing. I wish more games had that, especially more modern day hardcore games, such as Squad and Postscriptum. They call themselves hardcore or whatever, but you can't. You have to constantly hold the keys down to keep your vehicles moving. Yeah, and there's this whole game here. Figured out years ago that a throttle should act like a throttle. You should be able to set it and forget it. So it's a lot of nice touches, and it also just depends on the tank. Some of them have got some quite detailed interiors. So has it stood the test of time? Yes and no. Obviously, there's no campaign. It is still primarily a multiplayer game, so the bots are pretty dumb, the graphics aren't outstanding, but on the upside you get a lot of content. There is still people playing, and with the Darkest Hour mod, which is well worth the addition. In fact, I might even do a separate video on that at some point in the future, just so you can see it. That's a lot of game for the money, because it's only £4, or you could buy it as part of the Tripwire Interactive pack, or the Red Orchestra pack, so, you know, get even more for your money. As a single player goes, yeah, just bot matches with not particularly great boss. It's not terrible. It's worth it just for looking at the map. But that was some gunfire over there, wasn't it? See, you can, let's just set reverse and it will just keep reversing. Really, more developers. Tiger is in trouble. See, probably not having a direct driver. So I've got to do it all manually. But we'll conclude our dealings here anyway, gang. Yeah, so Red Orchestra, OSTFRONT 1941 to 45. All in all, yeah, it's rough. It's aged. It's showing its age, but it's not terrible. That doesn't look very friendly. Oh, just scalped it. No, I think he's getting away. Oh no, one of our chums taught him a lesson in manners. Excellent shooting there, chaps. For the bots is going some. Oh, of course you can scale up the difficulty level and it'll make them a lot more effective. That's something. But yes, all in all, it's decent enough. So anyway, gang, thanks for taking the time to watch the video, and hopefully you found it useful and entertaining in some way. As ever, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're alive. I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.